Last but certainly not least, welcome Aries to your 2019 energy forecast reading. I'm not going to say anything about you guys being less. It doesn't matter. You got your reading when everyone else did, so it's no biggie. But I love your face. No hard feelings. But anywho, if you're a new subscriber, I am Princess India. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. If you are a dedicated subscriber, and you guys have not pressed the notification button, I would suggest that you do so because your December reads are coming out next. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, for your overall energy for 2019, Aries, we are going to use the major arcana, and we're going to take a look at spiritual lessons as well as catalytic lessons. I'm still figuring out if that's a word or not. Google it after you guys, I promise. But anyway, then we're going to look at subconscious influences this year. So pretty much like the energy behind or influencing the program running in the background that's influencing a lot of your external experiences as well as what will be coming into your awareness this year. And then we're going to wrap up this reading by looking at a message from spirit for you guys. So pretty much your meditative mantra going into 2019. So I'm going to go ahead and attune to you guys' energy and to spirit. Spirit, please give me clear and direct guidance for Aries, Spirit, for 2019. Please give me the ability to interpret the messages clearly and concisely. Please give me the ability to offer clear and direct guidance to Aries to assist them on their overall evolutionary path and on their growth path, Spirit, and to offer them messages that will provoke hope and optimism in them as they approach 2019. And I thank you in advance, Spirit, because I know you're good for it, because you always are. Dag nabbit son of a gun, I said. So, I'm going to give these little cards a couple more shuffles. And then we're going to jump right into this puppy. Whoa, hello. Present energy is the strength card. That popped out like, whoa. All right. That is, did I say present energy? I meant your overall spiritual lesson for the year. We have your catalyst card, your subconscious influence, and what's coming into your awareness. So you guys, catalyst is the well. Interesting. That's a bit of a challenge there. So the challenge is to gain dominion over your primal instincts, your lower self, you know. So more or less if Aries was in a state of, this is so ironic that this is a conversation I literally just had. Being in a state, I just said in a conversation that the difference between, like a human coming into their awareness or becoming like conscious of, you know, the big existential experience that is life. The thing that separates us from animals is our consciousness, our awareness, our ability to choose, the free will that we possess, and our ability to gain dominion over our animalistic nature, so like our primal nature and our instincts, which is very reactionary and very rooted in survival, right? So the way that this manifests in modern man, so to speak, is in egoic functions like pride and lack mentalities and selfishness, right? It's needing to engage in one-upmanship, or, you know, I'll get me before you because there isn't enough for the both of us, right? which is a form of a lack mentality. It's feeling as if one is at the will of their experience, as if you have been given a lot in life and that is what you are supposed to submit to. You know what I mean? It's all root chakra issues, really, in so many words. So what it seems to me is that what it is that that Aries is going to be combating this year is the remnants of outdated old wounds. It's almost like the residue of these old wounds. And it may very well be things that you're not even consciously dealing with anymore, but it's that you find yourself snapping back into this space of this defense. You know what I mean? Needing to protect yourself and more or less going back to false core beliefs. So, okay, if we talk about a lack mentality to ground it a little bit, and say, you know, somebody grew up poor on a farm, right? And, you know, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everybody just got one biscuit. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing else to eat because there was like 14 kids or something, right? I know that it's so outlandish. But it's growing up that way. But now you are the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and you make over $800,000 a year. That's more than enough money to live off of more than just a biscuit a day. But it's being afraid to spend money, right? So being like a money hoarder because there is the inherent fear of one day going back to not having enough. So even though you are abundant, you don't allow yourself to enjoy that abundance or you don't attune with that abundance because there is this subconscious fear that this is temporary, or it's fearing, like I said, the past recreating itself in the present. So it's a need to hold on to money and a fear of spending. So it's those survival instincts that are going to be confronted head on by Aries in 2019. But the beautiful thing about this is your catalyst is each time these things rise up, it's almost as if, I love how Spirit is doing all these lessons this year. I'm like, this is gangster. But it's almost as if you're going to be reminded of some spiritual truth. So I don't know if in your childhood or maybe even now, if you were, you know, a Bible reader or, well, the Apocrypha is the Bible in essence. But if you read the Apocrypha in the Bible as well, if there's any form of spiritual truths that you grew up studying, I feel almost like every time, and this is so funny how Spirit is showing this to me, it's almost like every time you find yourself in a situation to where those like old school fears will rise up and you'll want to jump back into those primal, you know, survival of the fittest type of instincts. It's like one of those old school spiritual truths that you memorized as a kid or saw in a movie or something are gonna come up, right? So it's kind of one of those things where, you know, an example would be if you're being hella prideful, right? And you like hear your granny's voice in your head saying, pride comes before a fall. And you're like, Granny did used to say that, you know? Or you're thinking about not showering and you hear your papa's voice say, cleanliness is next to godliness. I don't know. Did your papa say that? I have no idea. But it's something along the lines of that. It's almost like every time you guys are trying to step back into that wound, or every time you're triggered and you want to step back in that wound, it's going to be like a thought that comes up of a spiritual truth to combat this thought. Now, at that moment is when it becomes your personal accountability, because in that moment, it's like two paths, right, are manifesting in front of you. So it's almost like choose life or death in so many words, right? So it's like, are you going to choose the old way of acting out of fear, of self-protection, defenses, you know, false strength, pride, lack of self-control, addiction, victimization, like self-victimization? Or are you going to choose power and strength, freedom, love, all of the things that are in alignment with your higher self? So it's more or less like the challenge is the choice between the higher nature and the lower nature. But I just think it's funny how it's going to be very, very clear to you, to where before you make a choice, you'll be aware of which direction you're choosing in the direction of, or which energy you're pulling from as you're making your decisions. But the whole purpose of this is for you to attune more, and thank you, Spirit. So you'll notice, because it's not really so much about there being like a tally system. I don't want you guys to think that. It's not what I'm implying. It's not really so much of a tally system of like, ooh, how much is Aries going to choose, the good side versus the dark side? No, it's not that. It's more or less what Spirit just said is it'll become very clear to you very quickly how good you feel after choosing from the things that are more in alignment with your higher self, or the highest vibrational frequency, that of which is love, as opposed to things of a lower nature that are which are of fear, self-protection, and things of the sort. You'll start to notice feeling lighter, feeling more optimistic, and it's going to be motivational for you to continue to make choices in that direction, because you're going to notice how your quality of life changes as you start to make choices that are more in alignment with a lighter, higher vibrational frequency, so to speak. So your subconscious influence is the World card. Freaking wonderful and perfect at the same time. So the whole influence underneath all of this is integration. So it's all about these experiences that Aries is going through, and the purpose of these experiences is to learn yourself as well as others better, so that you have a better, bigger picture of the interconnectedness that each and every one of us share. Learning that there's a block to our own level of self-awareness. Like there's only a certain level of awareness that an individual can obtain by themselves, because it is in the presence of what you are not that you can learn who you are. So relationships, friendships, others are very vital to your overall growth and evolution process, right? But it's more or less, and this is probably you guys being the last sign. I can literally say the overall theme with all of this, every single reading is Spirit using different techniques and methods depending on where everyone is. And I even noticed that there was a theme with the fixed signs too, which you're not a fixed sign, but you wouldn't understand, Aries. But anyway, I noticed a theme with the fixed signs even, that a lot of, like, was it Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, like all of the readings for each one of those signs, I didn't realize until after I finished Leo that the essence of all of our lessons is Spirit pretty much unhinging our lives on a consistent basis. It's like, oh, you're comfortable? Let me go ahead and turn everything around again so you can get comfortable with new stuff. Because it's very hard for us to align with change, right? But with you guys, like this whole world card theme and seeing this interconnectedness and this oneness between all of humanity and how we all interrelate with each other, this has been a theme that's come up for a lot of signs as well. But the way that I'm seeing it with Aries is slightly different in the fact that this awareness of the interconnectedness of all of, existence, life, humanity, whatever way you want to look at it, because everything is all interconnected. It's more from a personal accountability perspective for Aries. It's more or less Spirit opening you guys' eyes to how your choices affect not just yourself, but so those choices that you're making, whether in the direction of your higher self or your lower self, it's seeing how you choosing in the direction of the higher self, how that benefits you overall. But you're also going to see how it benefits everyone around you. And in retrospect, you're going to be able to look back and see how when you were consistently choosing instinctually from defenses and self-protection, how that was affecting yourself in a lower vibrational way, as well as how it was affecting those around you. So it's more or less Spirit pushing you into the director's chair of life to a space of empowerment, power, and dominion over one's life, but then also being able to look around and seeing how your life is a vital piece of the puzzle and how it affects every life that is around you as well, whether for good or for bad. So it's not really like, again, I feel like I have to clarify, not a guilt tripping type of thing. It's just that it could be something as simple as you making choices that make you feel in a better mood. And you start noticing that all your coworkers are now starting to have potluck parties and things of the sort. And thinking, almost seeing a contrast between at one point in time feeling like, you know, just a human, you know, a life existing, going through life, you know what I mean, in your own circle with your own little world, and not really seeing how, or the magnitude, the power, the influence that you were completely oblivious that you had, if that makes sense. So it's almost finding yourself in a place to where, well, I guess literally what I just said, it's like Aries being oblivious to how much they influence everyone that is around them. And I would say that it's more that inherent leadership quality that you guys possess, because my daddy and my son are both Aries. And I could say an example for my son, little tween kid up in here. That's something I noticed with him and his friend group. It's like in his mind, he doesn't see himself or even try to be in a leadership position. It's like to him and his friends, and they're equal and they're interacting, and that's what it is. But me being mom and watching, I notice it's just little things he'll do. If he'll start wearing a certain type of sweatshirt or a certain hairstyle or whatever, then it's the thing of everyone saying, oh, let's go do that. You know what I mean? But he's oblivious to it. And I think a lot of times, a lot of us are, when a person has persuasion or leadership skills, it's almost like a subtle leadership, but it's never in like a megalomaniac kind of way. It's just kind of one of those things where, perfect example, it's like the person, if you're working, you know, for a company and you're having a meeting and no one wants to be the leader, it's that one person that walks in the room and just kind of starts doing stuff and everybody just kind of collects and does what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because it's like almost like a subtle power or stance a person takes. And my whole point with this is that it's inherent to Aries. So Aries naturally takes that leadership role, whether you're aware of it or not. But I feel like with you guys, even when you're aware of it, you're more of a servant leader than you are of a dominating leader. You know what I mean? It's almost like you guys lead by suggestion and persuasion and hearing other people's sides of things and then giving your suggestion, and you guys compromising and picking the best between the two. You know what I mean? So it's like that transformational kind of leader. So the thing that I'm seeing overall for you guys is that kind of oblivious to the influence that you have and coming into the awareness of that. And I feel like that's something that you're going to take more ownership of and more pride in, and wanting to cultivate those skills of leadership that you guys naturally possess by seeing how much influence you inherently have with others. I don't think my kid is going to be about that life. He's a kid. You're an adult, that's different. Anyway, what's coming into your awareness is the Tower. So in so many words, to me, this is showing you both sides. Well, I think I just explained that. So in so many ways, like when I talked about choosing things that are in lower vibration or that are protective, self-protective and whatnot, this is more or less the ways that you guys were building up towers. So it's more or less like everything I kind of described. I love when I do that. That's probably why I should turn over the cards first before I just follow the stream of spirit. But anyway, so it's all of this coming full circle. And you seeing how every eruption or everything that fell apart in your life, how it was for your highest good, because you start to see that the foundation of these towers was self-protection. Because of course, what does a tower do but protect? It puts you above the chaos, right? And prevents you from being attacked by enemies. So it's more or less you guys getting even more clear on those defense mechanisms and things that have created a wedge between you guys as well as people in your lives, and starting to see that they're absolutely useless, they're fear-based, and they're not really needed, because it's almost like what is it, like building a fort during the Cold War? You know what I mean? Like there's no action or fighting going on. It's just Aries was still kind of living in the residue of past pain and wasn't aware of the fact that they're surrounded by people who are, what is that country that's just like neutral? Is it Canada? Is Canada neutral? Finland? I don't know. I didn't do well in geography. Whatever country it is that's just like, we're not about this life. Is it Guam? I don't know. Whatever. Whatever country that just says we're not about this life. It's like, we're not about the fighting life. Like, we're just here. Like, let us live type of deal. So it's more or less entering that space of understanding that the fear or the perceived fear or threat no longer exists, and it hasn't for a while. So overall, what it's looking like to me is that Aries is going to be settling into their life, the beauty of the life that they've built. That I think a little bit of a skewed perception that you guys had on things, still looking through those lenses of pain in 2018, that's starting to fall away. And you guys are going to be seeing things for what they are, which is freaking beautiful. Dagnabbit son of a gun, I said. I hope that made sense. I never know what the heck I'm talking about until I go back and watch these. It just feels like there's words shooting out of my face, and I'm just here like, I don't even know what's happening. I don't know what she's saying. I don't know what she's talking about. What is that? I have no idea. Oh, man. I hope this makes sense. That's like me behind the scenes while I'm talking. So we're going to go ahead and pull your message from Spirit, aka your meditative mantra for 2019. I've been suggesting that everyone write these down and utilize them as a little meditation prompt going into the new year. But it's totally up to you, whatever you feel comfortable doing, my dear. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, Spirit, what message do you have for Aries for, okay, there we go. That was easy. Didn't even get to finish my spiel. So anywho, the first card says, your mind is right now filled with old thoughts. How perfect is this? Not only old thoughts, but mostly someone else's old thoughts. But it's important now. It's time now to change your mind about some things. This is what evolution is all about. Yes, it is, Aries. I love how these cards creepily have something to do with the reading. It's always so interesting and creepy at the same time. Next. Are you going to be in a place called fear or in a place called love? Where are you? And where are you coming from as you encounter life? That's exactly what I said. The two paths. Where are you creating from? A place of love or a place of fear? That is so wonderful. You guys are cleansing and healing. The blinders are going to be removed, and Aries is going to enjoy their life on fleek with clarity, with no more fear. Well, not forever. I mean, there's always going to be fear in something. But in the bigger scheme of things, in your perspective of life, things are opening up, and I think that is amazing. I'm so excited for you, Aries. But that has been your 2019 general energy reading, my sweet, precious Aries. But until later, well, not later, literally in the next couple of days, because I'm going to do the January readings in the same order of you guys' views before, you know. So anyway, because I can't really count these because, you know, some people are terrified by them. But anywho, stay tuned for you guys' January readings that are coming up next. But until the next time, I love your face, and I will see you sooner than later. Deuces.